Welcome back to another episode of HealthCap Weekly Wrap. This week, we're diving into innovative dementia care, a breakthrough in arthritis treatment, potential Medicare policy changes, and some critical updates from CMS that could impact how your community manages reporting, audits, and even government shutdowns. There's a lot to cover, so let's get right into it.
Let's start with something heartwarming and practical from U.S. News & World Report.
Yeah, this one's about sensory therapy for residents living with dementia. It's a great reminder of how powerful non-drug interventions can be. The article walks through how sights, sounds, smells, and textures, like calming music, aromatherapy, and tactile objects, can ease agitation and promote comfort.
Right, and while sensory therapy isn't a cure, it's something staff can integrate into daily routines with minimal cost and often big emotional payoffs. It also helps center the resident experience in a really dignified way.
Exactly. And for caregivers and team members, it's one more tool in the toolbox. In some communities, this has even led to fewer PRN medications being needed. And that's a win for everyone.
You know, I think what stood out to me is how customizable sensory therapy is. If a resident used to love gardening, the smell of fresh soil or even lavender might trigger comfort or connection. It's really about knowing the person behind the diagnosis.
Absolutely. It's also a great topic to explore in in-service trainings. Maybe pair it with case studies or success stories from your own community. It builds momentum when the staff sees results.
And we can't forget the family impact. A daughter visiting her mom and seeing her respond to a familiar scent or the sound of birds. Those are powerful moments that restore a little bit of connection. That's what we're all here for.
Another angle worth mentioning is sensory rooms. Some communities are dedicating spaces specifically for sensory experiences. Think dim lighting, soft textiles, nature sounds. These rooms offer a therapeutic retreat, especially for residents who are overstimulated by regular activity areas.
Definitely. And if you don't have a full room, a mobile sensory cart can be just as effective. It's about intentionality. Even a warm towel, a lavender sachet, or a nature sound playlist can make a difference when offered in a calm, purposeful way.
Now let's shift gears to rheumatoid arthritis, which affects so many of our residents. This next story comes from MedPage Today, and it's about a new device that just got FDA approval.
Yeah, the SetPoint system. It's the first vagus nerve stimulation device approved to treat RA, specifically in people who haven't responded to biologics or JAK inhibitors. It's a surgically implanted device that stimulates the vagus nerve once a day with low-voltage electricity.
The idea is it helps modulate the immune response through what researchers are calling a neuroimmune reflex. In a major trial, over 50% of patients had significant symptom improvement, and most stopped needing advanced RA drugs after a year.
The device is small, about 3 centimeters, and patients can recharge it wirelessly while it's still implanted. And safety-wise, it's promising. Low complication rates, no major cardiac or infection risks.
It's not available everywhere yet. SetPoint says it's rolling out in selected U.S. cities later this year, with broader access expected in early 2026. So, not something we'll see in the clinic today, but definitely a signal of where the industry is heading.
And for residents or families dealing with chronic pain and inflammation, just being able to say, hey, there's something new out there that can offer hope, especially when current meds aren't cutting it.
I think this also opens up a bigger conversation around non-pharmacological approaches to chronic disease. Whether it's arthritis, depression, or even Parkinson's, electrical stimulation, biofeedback, and neurotherapy are evolving fast.
And while we're a few steps away from this becoming mainstream in senior living, our awareness matters. Residents trust us to stay informed. We can't prescribe these treatments, but we can be resources, bridge builders between families and the evolving healthcare landscape.
All right, let's talk policy. A little earlier this summer, McKnight's Long-Term Care News reported on a bipartisan bill that could finally fix a frustrating Medicare rule.
Yeah, we're talking about the 3-day stay requirement. That rule that says someone has to be admitted to a hospital for 3 consecutive days before Medicare will cover skilled nursing care.
The new bill proposes eliminating that requirement altogether. If passed, it would mean someone could be in the ER or even under observation status and still qualify for a Medicare-covered SNF stay,
This would be huge, because right now, many residents get caught in this trap, especially those who are never technically admitted despite staying in the hospital for days.
And for families, it's incredibly confusing. They assume they're covered, then get hit with unexpected bills. This change would reduce that burden and give providers more flexibility with admissions.
And from a community operations standpoint, it could smooth out transitions, reduce hospital lengths of stay, and improve continuity of care. No more rushed discharges or last-minute scrambles.
It's still just a bill for now, but it's gaining bipartisan support and has momentum from advocacy organizations like ACO and Leading Age, something to watch closely.
And for our leadership teams, this is a good time to connect with your local legislators. Share stories, real stories, about how this rule affects your residents. Policy is personal and stories stick.
Now let's dig into something a little more technical, but just as important: data audits.
Yep, another McKnight's article. This one focused on the surge of CMS audits aimed at validating the data we submit for quality reporting and payment.
These audits are part of a bigger push to make sure the numbers we submit, things like falls, rehospitalizations, and pressure injuries, actually match what's documented in the resident record.
And what's happening is CMS is finding mismatches. Some unintentional, some more concerning. But either way, it's prompting reviews and, in some cases, payment adjustments.
And that brings us to the next source, directly from CMS, the data validation process for the SNF VBP program.
CMS uses a method called re-abstraction. They pull your MDS submissions. Then independent reviewers go into the chart and confirm whether the data holds up.
And if it doesn't, if there's a pattern of inflated outcomes or missing documentation, it can lower your facility's performance score. That means lower incentive payments and increased scrutiny.
This is something every administrator and MDS coordinator should be aware of. We recommend routine internal audits. Just pick one quality measure each month and validate the chart to MDS alignment.
And maybe pull in your interdisciplinary team too. Therapy, nursing, even dietary. Everyone contributes to the resident story, and inconsistencies often come from siloed documentation.
It's a great opportunity for leadership teams to promote better communication and accuracy.
Also consider working with your EHR vendor to see if any new tools are available to support internal validation. A lot of platforms now offer real-time audit flags that can catch gaps before submission.
All right, now we're wrapping up with a topic that doesn't get a lot of headlines, but could have a big impact: government shutdowns.
Yep, we're talking about the QSO memo 26011 from CMS. It outlines what happens to survey and certification work during a federal government shutdown, which, as of now, is actively happening.
The short version: immediate jeopardy surveys and complaint investigations will still happen. But everything else, including routine recertification surveys, would pause until funding resumes.
That means providers need to act accordingly. With surveys currently paused due to the shutdown, your window may shift. Documentation could age, and staff turnover could affect readiness. It's important to stay organized and proactive during this period.
This memo encouraged state agencies and providers to plan ahead. And now that the shutdown is in effect, it's a real-time test of how solid your internal prep work truly is.
If you haven't already, now is the time to review your survey binder, confirm that your training records are current, and double-check your life safety documentation. Being ready isn't optional during a shutdown, it's essential.
For communities that rely heavily on survey windows to time quality improvement initiatives, this shutdown is a reminder to build flexibility into your calendar. Stay ahead of internal deadlines by a few weeks wherever possible.
Also, be sure to check in with your state survey agency. With the federal government shutdown, they may have updated guidance, contingency procedures, or adjusted timelines. Clear communication is key during this time.
That wraps it up for this week's HealthCap Weekly Wrap. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, you can get all the details on these stories, plus links to the original articles, over at Angie's blog at healthcapusa.com/Angie's-blog.
Be well, stay sharp, and we'll see you next time.